Manage it.
Here's a question too. How come no one wants to see electric cars race?
They crash.
They should have a demolition
burn.
derby out there is what they should have done. Just do a demolition derby out there.
With electric cars,
There you go.
otherwise known as golf carts.
Good evening. I call to order this regular meeting of the Minnehaha County Planning Commission, and we'll begin with a few introductory comments. As a courtesy to everyone here tonight, please make sure that all cell phones are turned off. Please note that tonight's Planning Commission meeting will be rebroadcast via CityLink and posted on the www.minnehahacounty.org site for viewing by the general public. Any final action taken on the conditional use permit applications tonight will take effect 5 working days following this meeting, unless a written appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed in the Planning Office by Monday, July 29th at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission for a hearing on Tuesday, August 20th at or after 9 a.m. The affected parties will be notified of meeting date. Meeting of the County Commission are held in this same room. First on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? At this time, the Planning Commission will consider the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are perceived to be non-controversial and meet all of the requirements of the codes and regulations. The consent agenda will be acted on in one motion with no public hearing on the items unless a member of the public, the commission, or staff requests the item be removed from the consent agenda. The minutes from the June 24th meeting are included in the consent agenda. Does any Planning Commission member wish to have an item removed for discussion? Next, I'll read each item on the consent agenda and ask if there are any issues or comments from the staff or the audience. If any member of the staff or audience would like to be heard on the item, please raise your hand and the item will be moved to the regular agenda to allow you time to address the commission later in the meeting. Any other items remaining on the consent agenda will be approved by the Planning Commission with the conditions recommended by staff. Item number 1 is the approval of the minutes of June 24th, 2019. Item number 2 is conditional use permit 19-32 to amend conditional use permit 18-02 to allow fireworks during the fireworks season in South Dakota until 11 p.m. and to extend the hours of public operation p.m. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. on the property legally described as Tract 3, except H-1, Krell's Addition, Southeast Quarter, Section 36, Township 101 North, Range 51 West. Petitioner is the Barn Incorporated, Josh and Amanda Nelson. They are also the property owner. The location is 46594 268th Street. That is located 3 miles west of Sioux Falls. Okay, someone's raised their hand, so we'll move item number 2 to the regular agenda. So I need a motion to approve the minutes of June 24th.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes of June 24th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda. Item number 2. David?
Good evening, Planning Commission. David Heinold, County Planning Department. Conditional use permit 19-32 is to amend conditional use permit 18-02. This is, let me just back up here a second. The property itself is located at 46594 268th Street. As you can see, the property itself is outlined in red on the overhead map. The existing property is permitted to allow 2 event facilities. As you can see in the aerial image there on the overhead, there is one barn there. and associated parking areas are located there too. The driveway to that red-shaped property is right in the middle of two existing properties that have been platted off. As you can see in the picture here, you can see the building off to the left, and then there's what's permitted to be an additional building to the right, and that was just recently as of last year. Currently, the petitioner is only allowed to host outdoor activities and events between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. for these existing facilities. Just going through some of the conditional use permit criteria is that the Planning Commission goes through in reviewing conditional use permits. One, that the effect upon the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for uses already permitted and upon property values in the immediate vicinity. The proposed extension of hours of operation will have an effect on surrounding properties, their use and enjoyment in the immediate vicinity. The additional hours of operation pose noise disturbances due to lighting of fireworks later into the evening. However, most nights during that 9-day period, it doesn't get dark enough until 9 o'clock, which is when the existing hours of operation are to cease. Currently, there are no restrictions on residential properties in the immediate area for lighting off fireworks. 2, the effect upon the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. Subject property has 2 existing facilities with those parking areas. Most of the properties in the area are either zoned commercial or agricultural, as well as other residential properties that are also zoned in the A1 agricultural district. This property being commercially zoned. There should not be an effect on the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property since there's no buildings being constructed with this amendment, or proposed amendment. 3, that utilities, access roads, drainage, and/or necessary facilities are provided. Petitioner has all the utilities, access roads, and drainage in place with the existing buildings on the property, so there's no need for those. Any additional infrastructure. 4, that the off-street parking and loading requirements are met. The petitioner is currently meeting those off-street parking requirements for the property for the 2 event buildings. 5, that measures are taken to control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, and lighting inclusive of lighted signs so that none of these will constitute a nuisance. The proposed use for lighting off fireworks may cause certain noise disturbances for other property owners at various times throughout the night, or the petitioner should take precautions necessary to control offensive odors or offensive nuisances such as noise and other vibration during these activities themselves, as they can present quite noise disturbances. 6, health, safety, general welfare of the public and the comprehensive plan. The subject property is located just outside of the transition area of the agricultural production area, as identified by the Envision 2035 comprehensive plan. The presence of Wildwater West in the immediate vicinity, which is to the directly to the north, as you can see in this picture, on the other side of the trees, brings more of a commercial nature to the surrounding area, as well as the other existing commercially used properties that are located adjacent to this property itself. The site is located adjacent to other residential uses, and the proposed use fits with the mix of commercial, agricultural, and residential uses in the immediate area. So staff finds that the proposed use is compatible with the zoning ordinance and Envision 2035 comprehensive plan. So staff recommends approval of conditional use permit 1932 there's a couple additional conditions. An additional add-on to number 9, which is an amendment for the hours of operation for the public will be between 8 a.m. and 12 a.m. midnight. Outdoor events and activities shall be limited to the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. And the addition is that the hours of operation for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day for the public shall be between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. And the additional condition is number 10. Fireworks shall be allowed during the 9-day fireworks season until 11 p.m. And then that moves down number 11. So there are a total of 11 conditions with this proposed amendment. And I'll answer any questions if you have them. I do have some additional pictures if you'd like me to go through them real quick, but a lot of them just basically go through the site photos of the 2 commercial areas and the road. which is gravel. And the sign was posted on the property as required by the zoning ordinance as well. So with that, I didn't answer any questions.
Any questions for David? Not at this time. Is the petitioner here? Will you please come forward, state your name and address, please?
Josh Nelson, 204 Park Drive, Lenox, South Dakota, 57039.
Any questions for him? Or-
Have you had any interaction with your neighbors about this proposal and, have
I
you-
haven't heard anything
Okay.
from him.
Okay, if there isn't, we might call you back.
Sure.
Okay. Proponents, is there any opponents? Will you please come forward, state your address, please?
My name is Chris Lair. I'm at 46578 268th Street. I am directly west of them on 268th, so I am probably the closest to that property as far as noise and that type of thing. The seasonal fireworks, I would have to agree that there's fireworks going off all around. I don't have to leave my house to go to fireworks. I don't have to come into town. There's plenty around me. The issues or concerns that I have are they going to be professionally discharged? Being that there is a full liquor license there, I worry about, if you have individuals that have been drinking there, what would happen. So that is an issue for us. Specifically me. Also, it would be nice to be notified, if possible, in writing that this is going to happen, because there are individuals that do have rescue dogs that we make considerations for getting our animals outside before everything starts up and that type of thing. This year was a little bit different than any other year. Really, we didn't have a lot of fireworks going on until like the day before. Normally, when the season opens, that's when it starts happening. But that didn't happen this year. So, I would request, if possible, that, we be notified through the mail that, you do have these things coming on so that we can deal with them. As far as the hours go, I don't have any problem with going to 11 p.m. during the time there, or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. The other thing that if they are not going to be professionally discharged, which way are they going to light these fireworks? Because just north of their facility and goes across the entire sections of 3 different landowners, the back part of it is strictly grassland. It can't be put into crops or anything like that. And so there is a concern for those, that grassland possibly starting a fire. Obviously this year it's a little bit wetter, but from year to year you never know on that. The other thing is, as far as which direction they're going to go off, we have experience that there has been fireworks that went off at Blue Haven Barn about a year ago, and they were professionally done, I believe, is what I understand. I don't know for fact, but nobody knew of this, and it was out of the season, and so there was some concern with that. Obviously, the neighbors are calling each other saying, "Is that gunshots? Is that gunshots?" Well, we were kind of hunkering down, and then when you go outside, you see all of these fireworks going off. So that was a concern, and we never did. We called the sheriff. There was, he came out and talked to him and talked to us, and there was no final report, which we were told there would be a final report that would be sent to us possibly 6 months, but we never did get one. So, all in all, I guess, what we'd like to find out, are they gonna be professionally discharged? Is there a direction that these would go? Obviously, if they go north, it would go towards Wildwater West. Wildwater West, I've lived in my house since 1992, and I have never known Wildwater West to do fireworks displays at all, that I can ever recollect as far as just being Wildwater West. So, there is that concern there, for those types of things, so. Any questions? Thank you. Yes.
Anybody else care to speak to this item? Please state your name and address, please.
I'm Daryl Bleeker. I'm 46575 268th Street, Sioux Falls. And my wife and my family live just to the south of there. And only concerns I would really have would be safety concerns. Are they going to be lit off professionally or not? And where would they be lit off? Would they be lit off to the northwest, since I live to the south? The debris, and they are projectiles and stuff. And are they going to be landing on my house or on my property? And then who's going to clean up the mess if it is? And the nearest fire station, I think, is like 6-7 miles away. I'm totally guessing, but that's the only thing I have is are they going to be professionally done, and then which direction? So, and if they want to stay open until 1 in the morning on New Year's Eve, that makes total sense to me anyway. If they want to be open, so. And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Guess I'd like to make a comment. I received a phone call also from an individual in that area today, which is Kirk Walters. He had some serious concerns about the discharge of the fireworks, who was going to do them, and which direction they were going to go. His biggest thing was safety as well for, not only you people, with your facility, but any houses that may be around there. I understand that it's a wet year, so to speak, but most years at this time, it's usually there's a ban on burning or anything like that. He also had a concern with the dust control. Apparently, there hasn't been anything applied this year. According to one of the conditions, it does say that it should be applied. He said is needed, but I checked to see, and it said once a year. I don't know, just so you know, I don't know the conditions out there at all. But he, just raised the questions mainly. He was really concerned about the safety. Petitioner, you want to come back up here, please? Are you aware of their concerns, about who might be doing this fireworks thing? And
So after we had the incident last year, we actually changed our contracts around of where you do need a professional to set them off. And I'm not sure if that would be a question for my wife, if it was a professional last year or not. I'm not 100% sure. She does all the contract stuff, but I know it's changed now to where you can't do fireworks at all on our property anymore. And I wouldn't have a problem with any of their concerns. I'm assuming if a professional sets them off, they would gauge the wind and how they would land and stuff. And I can't comment on that. I'm not a professional at that. For the dust control question, though, I was in contact with Alan Rippentrop with Lincoln County because they maintain that road, and he said it's just a matter of the road condition is terrible right now. After you turn off of Highway 17, it's a mud pit, and he said as soon as that's able to get under control, they'll do the dust control like they do every year, and it's their responsibility as far as they're concerned.
do you have a problem at all with maybe, when you do the fireworks thing? I didn't hear about, I think the time frame that you were going to do them and everything. I don't think anybody had, even the call I took, they weren't concerned about your hours so much as a fact, when you're going to do them, could you notify maybe? It's kind of like a
Not a problem.
good neighbor policy, so to
Absolutely.
speak.
Absolutely.
I think that constitute both your business and the people that live around you, especially, like she said, if you have service dogs or even little kids. I want to be aware of that myself,
Oh, you bet.
because
I don't have a problem with that at
we've
all.
got the law now that they can carry a gun now without a permit, so you just don't know what's happening anywhere, it seems like. So it just goes, I think that's just a good neighbor policy to have. If you and your wife are
Absolutely.
postcard or something, just say we're to be doing it this amount of time, and if they know it, then you're good to go.
Yeah, that sounds fair to me.
Any other questions for him? Thank you.
Madam Chairman, are you gonna add that as a condition then, or are you gonna ask to have that added? Did they notify the neighbors? And then that they be professionally discharged, or they have a professional discharge then?
Any comments from any commissioners?
Madam Chair, if I could.
Mike?
My only thought is I do agree that, that the professionally discharged is probably a good requirement, for the multiple reasons that the neighbors have brought up. And, I would tend to believe too that a professional would gauge, where the most appropriate area to set that particular display is based on the conditions that day. So I really don't want to put anything that says you can only discharge from the southeast corner, because that might not be the best condition. However, I do think that the professionally discharged is a good condition. Now, my only concern with notification, I think that it is, I would recommend absolutely that be a good neighbor, be a good steward, obviously. But if we do put that condition in there, I think we're gonna have to put some condition of how far out and, so far in advance. I mean, there's always these things of, well, I was a quarter of a mile away and my neighbor was a third of a mile away and he didn't get the notification, but I still heard him. And so I think that we're getting down into a muddy water situation with the extent of notification, but I do think it is something that you should do as a good steward. So I guess my recommendation would be to add the condition for professionally discharged fireworks, but not have anything for notification. But I do again, think that it's incumbent upon you to do that.
Is that a motion?
Madam Chair,
Jeff?
I wonder if just posting that, impending fireworks Thursday night or whatever, that at least the closest neighbors would be driving by and would have a chance to see it. So if there was a sign just like our zoning sign,
They can post it, I'm assuming you might have social media? Yeah, and I know that I'll follow it. So maybe just have a condition they post it on social media.
I would second Mike's motion about the one part and just suggest noticing it, social media or a sign on the property.
Okay, so we're adding the condition 4.
Let's restate it.
Yeah, please.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve as noted with the 2 additional conditions. 1 being that the firework display be professionally discharged, and 2, that either a sign be posted or a social media post occur to notify the neighbors of a display.
That's what I was gonna second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the conditional use print 19-32. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Regular agenda, conditional use permit 19-28 to allow seed and chemical sales on the property legally described. It's track 9, Grimace Edition, southeast quarter, section 34, township 101 north, range 48 west, and southwest quarter, section 35, township 101 north, range 48 west. Colton Grimace, Sandra Grimace is the property owner, located approximately 4 miles east of Sioux Falls, 48248 268th Street. David?
Good evening, David Heinold, County Planning Department. Item number 8 is conditional use permit 19-28 is to allow seed and chemical sales on the property, which is actually at 48248 268th Street. This property is located just to the driveway to where the petitioner is requesting to allow the seed and chemical sales is about a quarter mile to the west of that address to the driveway. As you can see, the whole property is 28.28 acres, is outlined in red on the overhead map, as you can see there. This conditional use permit request, as you recall, was heard at the June 24th Planning Commission meeting. However, there was a notification issue that we caught with that needs resolution, and the applicant was notified, and we sent them the correct mailing addresses for the property owners that are located across the street in state line in Iowa, that are within 500 feet, which is a total of 3 property owners, one of which is the property directly across the street, from the driveway location to the south. An appeal letter was filed by the surrounding property owner, but staff felt this was necessary to bring it back to the County Planning Commission for consideration in accordance with the zoning ordinance. And so staff recommends the same, staff finds that the proposed use for seed and chemical retail sales is an appropriate use for the surrounding area and conforms to the goals and policies of the Envision 2035 Comprehensive Plan. Staff recommends approval of conditional use permit 19-28 with a total of 8 conditions, which are the exact same conditions. And I can go through some of the pictures and some of the criteria as well, if you'd like me to. If there's any questions on that, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any questions for David? Guess not at this time. Is the petitioner here? Please come forward, state your name and address, please.
Colton Grimius, 26674 Brownstone Avenue, Rowena, South Dakota 57005.
Any questions for him?
Have
Jeff?
you visited with your neighbors about this? Have you managed to talk to them about the issue of the driveway or the visual
I haven't
impact?
been in contact with either one that were here last time.
Anything else, commissioners? Thank you. We may call you back. Any other proponents? Any opponents? Come forward, please state your name and address, please.
Dan and Amy Aukus, Valley Springs, currently South Dakota. It's my wife here. I guess our comments kind of come from the last meeting that we had. I don't know that we would call ourselves as opponents to what is going to proceed to happen. Just main concerns are kind of stemming from the last meeting as well. The perception that our property value would stay the same or not decrease, and I feel that from the research that we've done, we feel that that's not a true statement. So once again, we're not here to try to total annex the whole thing, but we were just wondering what can be done to ease our concerns. This site is right next to our property line, to the west there, our east property line, their west property line, and right in the corner by the road. Pretty much just mainly wondering if there could be an alternative site for this building and bin site. Just open to any thoughts or suggestions on that. So.
Any questions for him?
Yeah, I got just one.
Doug?
This is just a minor one, but are you more concerned of the unknown? You do not know what it will be like?
You could say that's part of the concern. Some of the concern is, who holds everybody accountable for what, was said to be done and what actually happens. I just don't want to have any problems at all, really. Like I said, we're not. We understand. My wife and I understand. We all have to make a living, and on the same token, I hope the same respect is shown back to our end of it, because this is something that we're hoping sooner than later to hopefully have our own place sitting there. We have owned it since 2007, and I think we get a little more anxious every year to do something, so. But yeah, a lot of it is the unknown. You know, depending on, I guess we just would like to know what could be done to ease that, if anything. I understand, you know, with respect to their site, it's probably is the best place to put that on their piece of ground there, less dirt work. I get it. I get it that it's expensive. I mean, we all know that. However, you know, what cost are we gonna incur, or what's deferred to us if, you know, to our property value, if we so happen to decide we don't want to build or live there beside a chemical, you know, a seed and chemical sales area, so.
And how big is your property that you own? to
Ours
the
is
west?
6.6 acres, and that includes the ditch and the highway, I believe.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would say it's about 6. We currently farm it right now,
Yeah.
so it isn't a big piece of ground to farm, but that's what we do.
I mean, if we would put in there, he has to plant trees on his west border, would that be something that would kind of, you would agree with, that would help?
I think that would help. I understand, you know, trees next to a building, you know, for their sake is probably not the nicest thing either. You know, we all know what tree roots and stuff can do, but, you know, yeah, I mean, it probably would help. On the same token, we could probably put a tree line in as well, you know, but I guess, especially this year, I hadn't had the time or the thoughts or the energy to do so. So, and then, like I said, if we currently do decide to sell it, we do have a for sale sign. Since the last meeting, we did put up a sign for sale by owner sign, just to get the ball rolling if we don't like what's gonna happen. So, I think that'd be something we might have to discuss, you know, maybe amongst ourselves. I know how much work it is to get a building site and everything approved, but I just would wonder if there's a plan B, you know, a different spot on the property. We know that the driveway there, you know, our driveway is not very far from that. You know, you're gonna have semis turning on there. Obviously, kids and children aren't supposed to be on the road, but we all know that, you know, we have 2 young ones too. You know, if we build there, it's just somewhat of a concern. We're pretty thorough on teaching our kids the rules of the road though, so it's not a huge concern, but you never know who's not paying attention as well, you know, so. Have anything to add, or?
Well, I do feel like, I mean, I know they brought up that it is concerning that, I mean, we were notified, you know, we were notified, but the other neighbors within 500 feet were not notified. I mean, that's kind of, it would have been, I mean, like we talked about last time too, we're not doing ill harm, and like we want to, you know, we're obviously supporting each other, but, you know, why were 2 neighbors not?
That's why we're correcting it tonight. They were sent notice tonight.
Sure. But, I mean, it'd just be interesting why we were the only ones that got the notice, so.
They were sent notice for this meeting tonight. All the people within 500 feet, including the people in Iowa, were sent legal notice.
That was why it was deferred,
Why it was
from my understanding. Yeah, brought back, yeah, okay.
Sure, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Any other questions for him? Thank you. Petitioner, you want to come back up, please? Okay. I guess I hear his concerns. Are you opposed to putting up maybe some trees or?
No, I'm not opposed to putting up trees. I mean, between what I have on the site there between the gravel and the property line is 40 feet. I mean, that's
Yeah.
plenty of space to put a tree line.
2 rows of trees easy.
But, I mean, it's gonna take a while for trees to get big
Oh, yeah,
enough to
yeah,
block much, so,
Yeah.
okay.
We all understand that. It might help with being the good neighbor versus, working together, which apparently, I mean, I don't think you've come together yet from what I understand here. Any other questions, commissioners? You're aware of all the conditions that are applied to this, right, too?
Mhm.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I would ask Scott's staff a question, if there would be a recommended tree to plant, because I think this condition should be added for trees. Scott, is there a recommended tree to use?
Well,
And
typically, I would do like one row of, like an evergreen and one row of a deciduous tree, like a maple or linden or seedless cottonwood, anything, not ash trees.
Well, so I think that's going to be my motion, is to approve this with the addition of a windbreak of trees to the west, mingling deciduous and coniferous trees.
2 rows, is that what you want?
One row each of,
Yeah.
yeah. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. A motion is made and seconded to approve item number 3, conditional use permit 19-08, with a additional condition of adding 2 rows of trees to the west. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Can that be contingent on them keeping the property? Or, I mean, if they sell the property,
No.
We don't.
No.
I think we should leave the condition there because it's just gonna buffer the next property owner. I see what they wanna do, but.
Sorry.
Sorry, it's already a done deal.
okay.
Okay, we have no old business. Scott, you had some new business?
Yes. So at the last meeting, I had generally suggested that I would start looking for a venue for our summer meeting, a get-together. And I had thought that maybe we could meet at the Safari Bar at Renner. They have a nice deck on the north side of the building. It's out in the county. So what I wanted to find out was some dates maybe, or days of the week that would work best for the commission. And then I can go to the Safari Bar and find out, get what. So would you like to meet like on a Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday? And then we would meet between now and the next meeting. And I have my calendar pulled up here. Let's see, so Labor Day is the 2nd, so we could meet, and our commission meeting is the 26th of August, so would you like to meet like that week before the 26th, or what's your thoughts? Okay, so.
Comments?
What night?
I guess I would prefer it later in the month. We got the fair here to deal
Yeah.
with in the first week or two, so after
Well, we
that-
could push it out till after
That week-
Labor
well, I
Day
mean,
too.
I think the week, was that the week of the 19th?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 19th is the
Oh,
week.
school start that week there too.
Was it the 20th?
I think so.
The fair, though, are you talking about the state fair?
No, I'd like to get it done before, in between the Sioux Empire and the state fair would be all right.
So when is the Sioux Empire Fair done?
The 10th or whatever, that Saturday of August.
Saturday or Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday. I don't know either. There you go. No.
No.
We'll be there enough.
So do you wanna meet the week of the 12th? And then I can talk to the Safari Bar, like what they're, I'm assuming, are they having church nights in the middle of the summer still? I don't know.
No Tuesday for me, please.
No Tuesday, so.
And
like
I'm gone
Wednesday-
all that week till Thursday.
Which week?
That week, I'm
We
out.
talked about 2 weeks now.
So do you wanna meet like on a Friday night, the 16th?
Works for me because it'd be just me and my wife coming.
That way you don't have to plan anything.
I'd leave my girlfriend at home.
Oh, okay, I'll see if we'll try for a Friday night at the 16th, if that's okay. I'll see what I can arrange with. So I'll send out an email to everyone, if that works, and I'll arrange it with the Safari Bar. That's all I have for.
Move adjournment.
Have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
All right.